Hello and welcome to episode number 14 of the TEW 2020 Challenge Run. This is going to be SmackDown on Fox for the second week of May 2020 as we continue our road to the joint branded Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Without any further ado, let's just jump straight into the show. SmackDown starts off hot and heavy with the big dog coming out. And he has a promo, he has a lot to say about Braun Strowman and Goldberg. Obviously he's not happy that Goldberg cost him his chance to beat Braun Strowman at Payback to become the Universal Champion. And he says he knows that Goldberg has been dumping and dodging him even since before WrestleMania. But now he decides to show his face again to screw Roman out of the Universal title that he lost to Braun Strowman. Not Roman never lost that belt, but Goldberg did. And he calls Goldberg out, but he just gets Braun instead. And Braun says, look, I know you two, obviously you've had your beef before from WrestleMania and you never got to settle it. And quite frankly, I don't care about any issues you two have got going on. The fact is that Goldberg attacked me too, and as your Universal Champion, you're not the champion. Who cares if you didn't lose the title? I'm the champion. Goldberg's not the champion. I beat him. And you're going to pry this, either one of you is going to have to pry this title out of my cold, dead hands. And then Roman's like, alright, bet. And he does the big leap. Because Braun will be coming down the ramp, kind of promo. And Roman does the big leap over the top rope onto Braun. And they get into a fight at ringside that has to be broken up by all the referees and all the agents. So a hot opening from the big dog and the big monster. First match is Dolph Ziggler defeating Elias in 13 minutes with a super kick. Ziggler 67, Elias 64, so probably would have got a better rating if I'd have put a storyline involvement. But then after the match, Dolph Ziggler grabs the microphone and he's like, well, where are you, Ali? You're supposed to be the honest-to-God hacker that's saving SmackDown from all its misjustice. And he's continuing to attack Elias, he's stomping on him like, where are you, Ali? And then the lights would go out and then Ali would be stood behind Ziggler in his special new hacker attire. And Ziggler he'd know he's there because the lights went out, and then obviously he's behind him, so he has to turn around to see Ali. But he wouldn't turn, he would just stay facing away from Ali, just smile, when all of a sudden Sonya Deville would jump into the ring, jump onto Ali's back, and then as soon as Ziggler hears the commotion, he turns around and he drops Ali with a super kick. And him and Sonya, they stand tall over the fallen hacker. Ziggler finally getting one up over the man who's been causing his life to be mayhem for the last couple of months. Bryan and Gulak are in the back, and they're talking about how they lost. Bryan lost to Sami Zayn at WrestleMania and the SmackDown after WrestleMania, and then they lost to Nakamura and Cesaro at Payback, and how we thought that we'd been over this and they were training each other to become better, but there's obviously still a lot of flaws in their game. When King Corbin would walk up to them, and he'd be like, oh, look at the once great Daniel Bryan here, begging for an opportunity to prove that he's still good enough, when in reality he's washed up, and he'll never be a champion like your boy King Corbin. And Bryan's like, when was the last time you even sniffed a championship, Corbin? Because I'm losing doesn't mean I'm quite your level yet. I'm still leagues above you, mate. And Corbin, of course, gets pissed off and he leaves. So an interesting development. Bryan and Gulak having to try and think of their next move after they've got a couple of losses under their belt. Corbin just being a dickhead as usual. The Fatal 4-Way that was announced last week between Alexa, Nikki, Naomi, and it was Carmella because she lost to Sasha Banks in the Money in the Bank qualifier. And it was Alexa Bliss who defeated Nikki Cross, Naomi, and Carmella when she pinned Carmella with Twisted Bliss in a 56-raid match. Alexa got a 54, Nikki and Naomi both got 46s, Carmella got a 47, which makes Alexa Bliss the new number one contender for Bayley's SmackDown Women's title at Money in the Bank. Cesaro and Nakamura are backstage. They're having a bit of a, not an argument, so to speak, but a heated discussion because last week Cesaro accidentally hit Sami Zayn against Jeff Hardy and cost him the spot to be Money in the Bank. And obviously Nakamura needs to scold him because they wanted Sami to win that match. Because if Sami became WWE Champion, then one of them could become Intercontinental Champion. And so he walks up, he says he knows it was an accident from Cesaro, and he knows that obviously tensions are high because they wanted to try the IC title, but because Sami is such a great friend and such a great fighting champion, he'll give one of them the chance. So, in a show of friendship and respect, if you two can shake hands and bow right now, in the main event, you two will face each other in a friendly competition to see who the better man is, and the winner of that match will become the number one contender for Sami Zayn's Intercontinental Championship. So, of course, they do shake hands, and they bow, and they leave together, all as one group, and we have Nakamura and Cesaro in the main event to decide who will become the next number one contender for the IC title. Oney Lorcan's coming out, 24/7 title around his waist for the match with Bo Dallas that was announced last week. When he's attacked on the entrance ramp by King Corbin, who, as we saw earlier on, Daniel Bryan said, still nowhere near being a champion here on SmackDown Live. Well, he begs to differ, because he takes out Oney Lorcan, he lays it out at the end of days on the ramp. The referee that's in the ring waiting, because Bo's in the ring already, he slides up to the ramp and he counts the 1, 2, 3, and King Corbin is the new 24/7 champion. And Bo Dallas, he comes to Mike, because he's confused, because he's supposed to be wrestling Oney Lorcan tonight. And he's like, well, I came in here for a 24/7 title match, and I'm not leaving without one, damn it. And so, since Corbin is now the champion, he'll be the one to wrestle Bo Dallas for the 24/7 title, which ends in a 52 rated match. Bo Dallas defeats King Corbin with a roll-up after Daniel Bryan distracts Corbin, and Bo Dallas wins the 24/7 title yet again. I think this is his third time holding it, third or second. Well, in this save, I know he held it once in real life as well. So fourth, including that one, I think. Maybe third. But yes, Bo Dallas wins because Daniel Bryan has distracted Corbin. Do I click the... No, I didn't. Backstage segment with the Gronk and Mojo Rawley. Gronk's obviously watching that match on the Titantron because he was 24/7 champion for about a month. Longest reigning champion of all time. And he wants to get that belt back. But Mojo Rawley comes up to him and was like, how's your SmackDown run going so far? And he goes, well, not great, Mojo. I lost to R-Truth, lost the title to R-Truth. And now I'm not really finding a place on the show. And Mojo's like, well, I'm still a loser even though you're here, my best friend. When Miz and Morrison walk into frame, Miz obviously still pissed at Rob Gronkowski, and Miz is like, hey, being 24/7 champion and losing matches is not what you should be best known for. You've done more than you think you have, Gronk, because what you have done is you've cost the greatest tag team of all time their SmackDown Tag Team Championships with your silly antics. And Gronk looks confused, and he's like, the greatest tag team of all time? I didn't know that D-Generation X, Triple H and Shawn Michaels were the tag team champions. And then Miz is like, really? 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 And then Morrison has to hold Miz back because he wants to get at Rob Gronkowski. And Miz is like, well, you see, if you two think you're so great together, why don't you two meet us two at Money in the Bank? And Mojo Rawley's like, oh, hell yeah, you're on. And then Miz and Morrison walk off, and Gronk's like, what the hell, man? We're not ready to take on Miz and Morrison. And Mojo's like, trust me, Rob, we'll be ready, but come Money in the Bank. We'll become the new greatest tag team of all time, better than DX, and we'll defeat Miz and Morrison at Money in the Bank. So Mojo seems to have confidence in himself and his friend to get the win over Miz and Morrison in a match that he'd accepted on behalf of the whole team for Payback. Not Payback, for Money in the Bank, sorry. JFLO concert gets a 17. It's just them performing, and it's doubling up as their entrance, as they have their debut 10-woman tag team match coming up now, which also gets a 17 because obviously they're all jobbers. According to the game, it ends with Mackie pinning Vanessa Bourne with a DDT. Everyone would get their time to shine. Match only goes like 5 minutes, so that's about a minute for each. And it would be, the highlights would be obviously one of the women trying to hit Mackie in the head with a punch or a kick, and her just no-selling it and hurting the other opponent's hand and or foot, whichever they hit her with, because she has the hardest head in the business and can take those shots. And she gets the pin of her diving headbutt. It says DDT on the game, but it's a diving headbutt. And then they all dance and sing off up the ramp, scoring the win in their SmackDown debut. Sheamus is backstage. He's kind of proud about how he says he's going to win Money in the Bank because he's better than Chad Gable, he's better than Jeff Hardy, and he's better than all the people from Raw, Apollo Crews, Aleister Black, and Austin Theory. Robert Roode comes up to him and he says, "Hey, I hear you're looking for a partner against Jeff Hardy and that once Shorty G, now Chad Gable once again tonight. And I would love my chance to get my revenge on Chad Gable because I am the star, I am the glorious one of that tag team, not him." And Sheamus is like, "Oh, I don't know, fella." And then Roode leans in, he's like, "Between you and me, no one else has to hear this, but you're really the one I'm pulling for to win at Money in the Bank." So he's buttering up to Sheamus, and Sheamus eventually accepts Roode's proposition to be his tag team partner tonight in a match that gets a 69 nice. Gable and Jeff defeat Sheamus and Roode when Jeff Hardy pins Robert Roode with the twist of fate. Gable and Jeff don't work well as a team, so it would have got better if it wasn't for that. Roode gets a 62, Sheamus a 70, Jeff a 62, Gable a 46. So the babyface team, the two people in Money in the Bank, score the win here. But shit's had to pick up because next week Goldberg's going to be back, and he's going to have a lot on his mind after the triple threat announcement. There'll be himself, Roman Reigns, and Braun Strowman at Money in the Bank. We have an 80 rated main event. Cesaro defeats Shinsuke Nakamura with a sharpshooter. Cesaro 64, Nakamura 76. So at Money in the Bank, Sami Zayn will defend his Intercontinental Championship against his friend Cesaro. And that ends the show, which gets us a 76. A show which we do not lose popularity on, so onwards and upwards. It's always like Cesaro main events that do it for me, so maybe he needs to be the next top guy on SmackDown. But again, more importantly than what the game thinks of my show is what you think of the show. Do let me know what you thought in the comments below, and I'll see you next time for Raw.